All right, so welcome back, guys, to the Raised Hunting Podcast. And today we're going to tackle I feel like it's an extension of another podcast that we did. And we had a lot of people that watched it and reviewed it and had a lot of positives to say and things to say about it. And that podcast was we were referring to scoring deer and whether you should, whether you shouldn't, and all the things that encompass that. Today we're going to go a little farther and say, what is a trophy? Or let's define trophy. Couple things that go into that. Are we trophy hunters? How do you define a trophy? What do you do with the trophy? How does that work? And then the enigma or the stigma that goes around trophy hunting from the non-hunting public. That's something we'll need to address. But we got a list of questions here. So thank you guys again for contacting us and giving us all your input, and the reviews have been awesome, so thank you. But we're going to get started on this one now, so I'll throw it out there. What's a trophy?
Well, first off, the trophy, I said it in the last one, I'll say it again, I think you just said the stigma around it is stupid. I think we should start using the word trophy more often in the right context so that we can try to flip the...
So you just said the trophy's stupid. Now you're saying...
No, I'm saying the stigma around it is stupid, as in, like, if you say anything about, oh, that's a trophy, or I'm trying to go hunt a trophy, that is it shouldn't have to be a bad thing, but the way people take it is a bad thing or bad way. Because if you play any sports, if you do anything else, you win. A trophy is a representation of an accomplishment or a good thing.
Well, not anymore. You can get a participation trophy.
Yeah, well, you can't get a participation trophy in hunting.
Which is stupid.
It's not a thing.
Participation trophies don't. That just means someone made you show up and you're there.
We have a whole nother topic for that.
People say that shed hunting is a participation trophy, and that is BS. The reason I'm going to say it's BS is because I've been working my freaking tail off trying to find a big shed, an 80-plus inch shed, and I have 3 on deer that I've been able to kill. But I can't find one.
I would agree. I mean, I'm in the same.
I don't know how participation how shed hunting goes. That makes no sense. Okay,
but let's.
Anyways,
so maybe you need to change the verbiage. It needs to be a high valued rack.
Yeah, maybe we'll come up with our own words. That's what we're gonna do.
I think that for me,
potato.
I mean, I guess if you were to say, are you a trophy hunter? And
Check out my potato.
Warren.
You put the antlers on the wall, then you're a trophy hunter, right? But to me, I'm trying to show appreciation to that animal. I'm trying to save, and maybe I'm trying to save even more of the moment and what it meant and who. Because a lot of times that set of antlers goes with a picture, goes with an arrow,
in a story,
and so you want to relive that, so I mean, technically, if you got a turkey tail on your wall that you shot, you're a trophy hunter.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
I mean, you save something from that animal, whether it's to remember the moment or to, show people how big it was. I mean, in a turkey situation, maybe it's different color of the fan, and things like that. But I think that we have gotten, and it comes from outside of hunting, that if you label yourself as a trophy hunter, you're bad. Because they view us as someone, if you're a trophy hunter, you're not doing anything with the meat.
Yeah.
You're just shooting something, whacking the head off or whatever part you want to save, and that's it.
Which is a poacher.
That's a poacher.
That's a poacher. It's literally illegal. So I guess I'm thinking of what you're saying about, putting a turkey tail on the wall or a deer rack on the wall or anything like that. I'm just going to play the devil's advocate. What if I say I'm a meat hunter, okay? And the reason I have that rack on the wall is just because that was just the one I shot. I wasn't trying to kill a specific one or a certain size one. Why would I have that on the wall, I guess? Just trying to have some use for it.
I don't know why you'd even keep it if you don't care about it.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing I'm trying to.
Well, maybe we should ask that question and see if some viewers will answer. Do you keep all of your antlers? We do.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean that everyone does.
That would be my question, I guess, for a meat hunter. Then is, if you're a truly meat hunter and you kill a buck, do you keep the rack or not? And if you do keep the rack, well, why are you keeping the rack?
I think it's a bonus. I think what a lot of people would tell you is if I go out and I'm only hunting for meat, the first opportunity I get or whatever that's going to give me that happens to be a big deer or a little deer or just a buck, then I saved that because it was a bonus. It's not like I was passing a bunch of deer to try to find it. That was the first opportunity that came to me, and it's pretty cool. It comes with it. I genuinely think a lot of them would believe it's a bonus.
Okay, so
which I don't think is wrong at all.
I knew this podcast was going to create some questions that I want to hear from our viewers. I want to know whether or not what Warren just said. If you don't really care about antlers, but you kill one that's got antlers, do you save it or not?
And if so, why?
Yeah, and if so, why?
And that's not coming at that. I don't want that to sound like we're attacking it whatsoever.
Not at all.
That is just genuinely we don't just hunt for meat. I mean, we keep everything that we hunt or kill. We eat everything that we kill, but we don't.
Well, and
I wouldn't say that we're just meat hunters at all by any means. So we're just trying to premise somebody else's perspective.
I'm 44 years into doing this. I'm at 10 years old. I killed my first deer. And so from day one, I was trying to preserve as much as it meant so much to me to be able to, I mean, I remember saving tails off the does.
Yep.
You know, I was like, and it wasn't because it wasn't a trophy. It was just something to remember that deer by, you know, and remember that moment. And hence the reason that I keep a log of all the stuff, because I'm trying to write down things that I know that over time I will forget.
Yep.
So I don't think that, and we're going to talk about this because I agree with what Warren says. I don't agree with everything that he stated about it. And that is, it seems like the guy that kills a bigger deer every year now, he takes more criticism than anyone else, especially on social media. If there is someone out there that is successful in killing a big deer, he's going to get some hate mail. He's going to get you shot it in a fence. Must be nice to own, you know, millions of acres. Must be nice to have all kinds of food plots. Must be nice to have that, you know. I think that that's wrong, that we're throwing stones at people like that when we don't have a clue what really is going on there, you know.
Which that was my statement. My statement was that I believe that somebody could go shoot a small buck, and everybody's saying, you know, don't ever rip somebody for shooting a small deer, which I agree with. But they could go shoot a small deer, and you'll never see a bad comment on there, unless they put the score in there. Then that's just putting honey on the beehive.
There will be bad comments and stuff, but
I haven't seen one though yet. I've seen one.
Tons of.
What are they saying?
I've seen.
There's all sorts of stuff about, like, even if it's a kid's first deer, people will say something.
Nice 2-year-old.
Yeah.
See, I've never seen anybody say that.
Not on a kid. I can honestly say that when there's a kid in the picture, I haven't seen that. But I've seen some people, and the other one that people will steer clear of is first deer. If it says first deer or it's a kid, typically people don't attack them.
Yeah.
You know, but if it's me, one of you who's an accomplished hunter, and we shoot a 110-inch deer in Iowa, where that's not considered one of the top 10% of what's out there, what'd you shoot that little thing for? You will see that comment, you know.
I have seen that, but it's not as much though. That's why I've definitely seen that.
You could have people deleting them too, you know, like you could have whoever owned the post or whatever could be deleting them. But
I definitely think
that
the big deer are getting all sorts of crap, whether it be from, oh, you got lucky on that shot, or, oh, got lucky having that deer come by, or everything we just said. I do see that often, very often.
Well, here's where I mean, and I don't know where everyone else is coming from, but I'm going to say this. I question the guy who kills a 200-inch deer every year, because I'm like, it naturally, because I feel like I hunt hard and I hunt a lot, and I hunt not just Iowa, but I go to other states. I don't see that many 200-inch deer. Matter of fact, I don't know that I've ever seen one on the hoof. And yet there's other people that are accomplished in it. Now, I'm not knocking them, and they may be doing their homework and spending a lot more time than I am to go find that 200-inch deer. And so, but my point is, it definitely rings in my head when I see.
How the heck?
Yeah, when I see Bill, and I'm just going to use a name, Bill has another 200-inch deer and another 200-inch deer. It's like, how in the world is he doing that? You know, now, granted, I don't know that, and I still don't take the time to go comment on that. That's not, but I definitely question it. I definitely wonder, how does he do that?
For sure, see questioning it, especially if you live somewhere that's not Iowa, because
or just the Midwest in general.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously we hunt together for the most part. I think there's only been one deer that I know of that I believe was 200. and that's almost 10 years of living here. But I think that typically those people are going to have more property to hunt, more places, or maybe they're in better neighborhoods where their neighbors also have property, and they're not shooting younger deer or whatever the case may be. I also know I think usually the biggest deer are getting killed by people that aren't doing all the managing stuff and this or that. They're people that just have permission or whatever, and they had a big deer show up. I think it's like pockets, honestly. And I think that some places it's a genetic potential that's like as high as it can get. And I think that our area specifically, we just don't have the genetics to do it from what I've seen.
For 200-inch, yeah. I don't get it. I've got nothing against them. Actually, I'm jealous, 100%. I'm like, how the heck are you finding that many 200-inch deer? And whatever your secret is, I want to know the secret.
Well, and to go the opposite, though, a lot of times what you find out is this guy is, and I'll use shed hunting because we've met some people that have found 80-inch sheds, big sheds. And when I'm using 200-inch deer, that's because we're here in Iowa and I'm talking about the Midwest. It could be that guy that's killing the 120-inch deer or 100-inch deer, but he's doing it over and over and over again in an area that's out of the norm. That's
top tier deer.
Yeah. And so what typically you find, though, is these guys or these gals that are doing it are putting in the time. They are living and breathing trying to kill those deer or find that shed. I mean, they aren't doing anything else. They're not going to soccer games for their kid and stuff like that. A lot of them that I know of personally aren't married. I know guys that aren't married because they love chasing whitetail deer or elk or whatever it may be, and that they'll choose to. That's their whole life focus. And so if you're not putting that kind of time in, you can't criticize someone for doing that. I mean, that's up to them.
I don't have criticism for them at all. That's crazy.
Well, I think
it's out of my mind to comprehend that. How the heck are you doing it every year, or where do you even find it? Because again, I've never seen a 200-inch deer from a stand.
Well, I think that's where have you ever even seen one? Period.
Probably not. Maybe.
That's the only thing is.
I mean, like driving around on the road. I think I may have seen some, but not anything that I would recall.
Well,
so probably not.
Junior's probably the closest that I know for a fact. He was 190?
192.
192 when Ryan killed him.
I think Ralph was going to be 200. Just going off of his shed, which the deer died, and we don't know what happened to him. But I do believe that biggest year that he was probably 200.
He was big, really big.
But I think, so I guess then is what you're saying is I think that there's two ways to go about that. Either one, you got the guy that spends so much time that he's driving around all the time or he's knocking on doors and that's all he does, and he finds deer that level. Or the only other flip side to that would be that somebody has the money to go and own property or lease things or to acquire that much ground. So now I think that's where you get a lot of people that really hate on those people because they don't have that kind of money, and I can see both sides of that. One, I can see if it's a guy that's put in his whole life trying to build a company and working his butt off, or however the way he did it to make money, he probably sacrificed a lot to be able to go and do that. Two, I can see where other people say, well, I don't have that capability because I had kids or I had this or whatever the reason may be. Now I could easily see where anybody that just inherited money, a crap load of money, and is able to go and do whatever they want.
Or land in general.
Yeah, that people could want to hate on them. I wish I was in that position. You suck, Dad.
Maybe not.
Sorry.
I'd go buy everything I could. But I think that where I'm going with that is, now here would be my question. So the only reason that they would not like somebody like that is out of jealousy. Wouldn't you agree? Because you want to kill a deer like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or the only other reason would be that you believe that by that person buying that ground, that it takes away opportunity from you. That would be the only other reason that I see a lot on social media. And I think that I would have to disagree with that for the most part, because I don't believe that. I think the amount of guys that have the money that we're talking about, that do have the ability to just go and buy tons of ground like that, is
small
1%. And some people think we're in that bracket. I promise you, I would love to be in the bracket, but we're not in that bracket.
Right.
So I think, but if somebody was willing to sell that farm, how do you know that they weren't going to sell it to somebody else that's a PETA person and wasn't going to let hunting anyways?
Yeah, exactly.
So I can kind of sympathize with it, but I have a hard time at the same time.
Well,
wondering
and having lived kind of both sides, grown up in an area where I hunted public ground and killed small deer, it was a goal in my life was to own my own ground. That was one of the things that I said I wanted to do. I want to be able to own a piece of property that I can walk out the door and go hunting on. And I have that now. But it took me over 30 years as an adult to be able to get to that point. And it took a lot of sacrifices. I mean, I'm talking, we have moved across the country. You guys were too young. You were born in Arkansas, but you grew up in Montana. You were born in Montana and you grew up in Iowa, basically. That was my commitment, and luckily I married someone who believed in that too at the time. So Mom and I were, let's try to go make this happen. And it wasn't necessarily that, that wasn't the only reasons though. And that's maybe the reason why we don't have a bigger chunk of ground to leave to you guys, or maybe we're just mean, but it's just, that's not what, I feel like we're living, I have reached my goal. I wanted to kill a deer. The day me and you shot the deer at the 80, that deer was a chunk of ground that I bought specifically for bow hunting for hunting purposes, and I shot a deer off of it, and I can't tell anyone what that feels like. It was not like killing any other deer. It was that he was there on my ground. He was within. This is mine. I'm working on it. I own it. Granted, I don't own it I still to this day, the bank still owns part of it. But I had busted my butt to get to that point, and not only did I get to do that, I got to share it with you. So there comes the trophy part of it, because dang right, I don't care how big that deer was, he was going on the wall.
Yep.
And so why? Because I want to remember that. I want to remember that moment that we spent. I think one of the coolest things is us standing at the gate waiting on Mom and Warren to get there. Me and you spent, and that to me was more of a trophy than the antlers or the deer or anything else, was standing there and us having just accomplished what we'd accomplished. And for me, you were probably 13 at the time?
13, I think.
Yeah. So, for me, it had been a 30-year quest to do that.
That just shows that a trophy can be the size of a deer. It can be a story. It can be
just define. So
anything.
What to you is a trophy then?
The score comes into play for the meaning of the score for me.
What does the
So
score mean?
Well, I guess this year I'm mounting that deer because of the season, 100%, not because of the score, one bit.
He's not the biggest deer you've ever killed.
No, I wouldn't have mounted him if I wouldn't have had the season that I had this year. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm more than happy with the deer, but that's not like a point that I was going to mount. So in that case, my trophy for me would be a story, or the meaning behind
the struggle.
The deer. And other ones have been just flat out score. It's been a trophy because it's the biggest I've ever killed. And so I guess it goes for both. Trophy could be score for me, and it also could be the meaning behind it. Because I now have 2 deer that are on the wall that are nowhere close to my biggest, and not even within like 20 or 30 inches of my biggest, that are going to be on the wall or already are on the wall, that just meant a ton to me. And so I mounted it because I want to remember that.
Okay. What to use a trophy?
I think anything, and I'll qualify it for me. And it when I started bow hunting, shooting a big game animal, and I include turkeys in that because I feel like they're a big game animal, even though they're
little.
They're little and they got feathers.
They're definitely classified as a small game animal, but
but I love the. But anyhow, I consider them.
Gobble.
I consider them because they're so hard to kill with a bow. So for me, anything that I can arrow.
You calling me out?
Yeah, they're not hard to kill with a bow for Warren. They're impossible to kill with a bow for Warren.
I'm good at hitting them.
I think
not good at killing them.
So my answer is, anything that I can shoot with my bow. And I'm not discrediting the guy that hunts with a gun. I did a whole bunch of it. I just didn't feel like that I had that intimate relationship with the animals. And that's where, even with a bow, I'm all about trying to see how close we can get. Now, there is a limit to that. You can get too close. I don't like being right up where it messes up things. So that would be where my trophy comes from, is if every doe that I shoot with my bow is a trophy because I did it. I got the full draw and made that shot.
So let's just say your buck tag, your either sex tag, going into the season, what is David going to define as a trophy?
Well, and I'm at a place in my life where that changes year to year. And I would say, because like one year was straight up. Okay, I picked straight up because I had more history with that deer than any that I'd ever seen. We had picked up all his sheds. We tried to kill him the year before. I put someone else on him. Juice was another one. He was big. And, I mean, he was like gargantuan big to me. I was like, holy cow, this is going to be really cool to chase this deer. And then this year, Brahma is as big a trophy to me as Juice is. And yet they don't score anywhere close to, not even remotely close to what, but because I wanted to accomplish killing a deer on a farm that we were struggling to kill a deer on. And there were several things with him. We had also started implementing our scents and our rub trees, and all of it culminated in that was a trophy in itself.
I think it changes for a lot.
Yeah, and I definitely think as someone goes through their progression of their hunting, they're going to see that the definition of trophy is going to go all over the place for them.
Yep.
What about you?
For me, it's a moving scale. So,
well, we've all determined that so far.
No, meaning it could be day to day.
Oh.
So, situational based, I don't go into the season based, and I learned this from doing this. This is the year I shot that 110-inch deer.
Yep.
He's only 109, by the way.
Okay, 109. The year I shot the 109-inch deer.
It's just trying to grow it. 110 sounds better than 109.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ooh, I really grew him. You guys are just way too used to measuring in an inch. Anyways.
Oh, that was a low blow, man. That was below the knees. That was good.
Burn.
That was pretty good. I'll hand you that one. I got nothing to come back to that.
You want to argue with me about my deer this year that was 176 and 5/8 and not 177? And then we can start talking eights. Yeah,
are you used to measuring in eights?
Okay.
Anyways, I think it's a sliding scale.
That's just the micro, man.
Okay, this is like sounding really wrong here.
It's a sliding scale. The year I shot the 110-inch deer, I had gone into that season saying I only want to kill. I can't remember even what it was. It was still a score-based goal. And then is what I learned from that is sometimes you have one come out on the first day and you shoot them, and it's really not all that hard. And then other times you have to work your butt off to even see a deer like that. And that's when I realized that there's way more that goes into it. And that was because I'd been really lucky the few prior years where I didn't hunt very much and had a great deer come by me and killed one. And so then now I've been fortunate and killed several good deer, but going into to me, if I have a deer that comes in and he decides he's going to rip up a tree and he does this and he does that, and I really want to shoot him, he's a trophy to me. I'm shooting him. Or if I've had like a season that you did, that 3-year-old that you passed, that really nice 3-year-old, I would have smoked him. I am not kidding. I would have torched that deer, and I would have been stoked. Because
I would have been
to
too.
Me, I know, but I think that what I did the same thing that you did this past year. You learned from on the 110-inch deer. To me, it was I was so pissed because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to give up on the goal, right? I didn't want to give up and feel like I'd failed. And then is what I learned is that I'm not failing. I'm setting the wrong goal. I'm looking at the wrong reasons. So like that deer for me, I would have been super happy with him because he'd have got my heart pumping, and you had so many other things that gone into it. I'm not saying that you needed to do that. I'm just saying for me, I would have been absolutely stoked with that deer. But at the same time, I'm probably also to a point in certain scenarios where I may not. I always say it that I'd be just fine not killing a deer, but there is a little bit of part of me still that I like to kill a deer. So I would have a hard time not shooting. The biggest one I would say is the best example I have of this is I think that, and I'd be curious to see what your guys have, the most significant trophy that I've ever had that isn't even possible to have a score is I killed a cow with you and Dakin, and in Montana on public land, and we'd been hunting for 13 days, something like that.
You took all of mine.
Yeah.
Because I was supposed to hunt after.
It was supposed to be. So here's a great example. We had two guys that hunted with us from Texas, and we took them. He killed on the second or third day.
Second day.
And no offense to them, great guys, but Dad killed the bull. They just shot at it because they each shot at it. It was a rodeo. But anyways, Dad killed the bull. He called the bull in. And then these guys made the shot. But they had no understanding. They had no capability of conceptualizing the amount of work that goes into that and how lucky they had just gotten on this bull. And so then what happened after that is we had the next 15 days or whatever it was straight. I was supposed to get to hunt for a week, and then Dad was supposed to get to hunt for a week of trying to kill an elk, and it just got worse and worse and worse. I mean, we were on a mount one day, and we saw 9 different dudes. I told Dad, I was like, there's some elk finally, and it's freaking alpacas. And these dudes coming over with their llamas or whatever they were. And then we got a shot at this cow, and I made a good shot on her, and that cow, I was down to 180 pounds. I mean, that was the hardest I'd ever worked for an animal ever. And then I went to Wyoming last year, and I killed a 340 bull on my very first morning.
I believe he was 330 something.
337, yeah, we know there, inch man. Anyways, so I killed that bull, and it was how much easier it was. We worked 15 times harder to kill that cow than I did that bull.
Right.
Not that I'm not super proud of him, but that cow, to some extent, was more of a trophy to me than that bull.
Yep, and the thing is, I mean, I would equate that elk season with the cow to your deer season this year. I mean, it was just, and so that's why I say that it is a sliding scale. It's going to move continually, and you may set your goal. I as an outfitter, as someone who used to take people hunting, I hated when someone was like, well, it's not something I'll shoot on the first day. Well, if you would shoot it on the last day, shoot it on the first day. Don't be passing until you see, because typically you don't get that many opportunities. Now, there are places, I guess, out there where that is not true.
Yeah.
But and so being able to set a realistic goal. If I was going to Pennsylvania tomorrow to go on a deer hunt and it was the peak of the rut, I'm not going there trying to kill a 150-inch deer. I'm going to set a goal that I feel like that I can attain, that I can achieve. And then if I go to Iowa, I'm going to set it differently. If I go to Montana, it'd be different there.
Yeah.
The one that, again, and it comes back to, I look at last year, Eli and I went on that oryx hunt. And for me, it was, we couldn't find anyone that had done it. That we couldn't find a single person that had shot an oryx outside of the missile range or even inside the missile range with a bow and arrow and filmed it. We looked everywhere.
Did you find anybody I thought there wasn't even anybody that killed with a bow.
There. I'm sure that somebody's killed with a bow, but we couldn't find any.
We couldn't find any video of it on YouTube or anything like that. And I called even the guys that I know, and said, "Look, this is what I'm looking at trying to do." And
obviously Mick thought it was impossible.
Yes. Oh yeah. The outfitter didn't believe that it could be done, and he let me know that multiple times. That one will probably go down as like the biggest trophy for me, at least as of right now, because what it took. I mean, I'm not a rattlesnake fan. I don't think Eli's a rattlesnake fan, and I dang sure ain't a mosquito fan. And we were in and amongst those things to the point where it was like scary, and yet we're still trying to do this. And so,
how long has that been open?
I think they've been doing that for 15, 20 years at least, maybe longer than that. I want to say that they put those oryx or the gemsbuck into they don't allow any bow hunting inside the rifle or the missile range. I don't think. It's only when they come out that you can use whatever weapon. But on the missile range, you can't. You have to use a rifle. But that's a once-in-a-lifetime draw.
It's free range,
why would they make you,
if anybody is questioning
that. Oh, yeah, it's 100% free.
Why would they make you shoot a rifle on the rifle range but not a bow?
On the missile range? I think because they don't want any wounded or anything. They want to make sure people are killing. It's a conservation thing. They're trying to keep the numbers down. So there, but I mean, and I had this whole thought in my head when we're hunting outside of a missile range. We're going to drive down a fence, and it's going to be 10 foot tall with Constantine wire on top, so anything in there couldn't get out. It's a freaking 4-strand barbed wire fence that he and I could have stepped over with no problem. I mean, that's
I would
it.
just went and gone and talked to a guard. If I hit one a little back or something, be like, B3.
Yeah, whatever. So, but anyhow, so that will be something that someone should, and I can tell you, like, when I went into that killing anything that's legal other than, a brownie. Now, a brownie is what they call a fawn or a young oryx. Okay. And so.
Are they brown?
Yeah, they're kind of tan. You know, they're a tan animal, but they haven't like white faced and black like they do. But they don't, and I don't know if they start to grow their horns immediately. But that was the only thing that was off limits to me. I'm shooting a cow, I'm shooting a bull, I'm shooting a broken horn one, I'm shooting anything that I feel like I can because of what I'm trying to do it with.
Because of the level of the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, but that brings up the topic: do you fix stuff? You know, how does that work on trophies? You know, are you one that fixes an antler? You know, is it still a trophy or is it not? And we differ on this a little bit, I think. I'll answer it first because I'll tell you, if I have a trail camera photo or someone can show me what that deer looked like, or that, in this case, it could have been an oryx, no problem. Let's fix it and make it look like what he was, you know, and what it is. At the same time, if I don't know them and I shoot this deer and he's got a busted tine, I've got I actually have a deer mounted. The Big 8 does not have his tine fixed, and I had only because it really didn't matter to me, you know.
Well, and that time was what, 2-3 inches?
2 or 3 inches, yeah.
That's my deer last year had probably an inch broke off, and I didn't fix it. But like if it was a deer, you know, and he had say a 6-inch drop or something like that, I am shooting him. And I am getting it fixed. Right. Because I got enough trail camera pictures that, here, Waylon, I know you can do this.
Right.
Because to me, it's still the same deer. Like, one, you still run the risk that he gets killed or that he doesn't make it to the next year. He gets hit by a car. And then, two, I've still accomplished the same thing. He had the drop tine. He grew it. Yes, he may have broke it, but the deer it's the same deer. I've still accomplished the same task in my eyes. That, to me, so I would fix it. Now, if it was like
whole main beam,
half the antler or something like that, I would probably still shoot him, and then I'd just try and find the antler. If I had I had some clue of.
If it's too much, I will let him go. And
I don't fix it.
Right.
I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah. That's the second one though. Touch, I didn't fix either, and you knew it.
I have.
You guys keep freaking telling me that there's these trail camera pictures with this like 7 or 8 inch tine. Inline time that
they must be on your computer because I tried to find them from the other day.
I've never seen these pictures, but anyways, I killed that deer, and I don't know where I got the theory. You've never taught me it, no, but I haven't really heard anybody else. How I kill it's how I kill it. I don't know why for whatever reason I found this year that I really do hold that very dear to myself. No pun intended. Actually, that was pretty good. But I don't know why. I don't have anything against somebody that fixes a tine. I don't disagree with fixing them. I would maybe disagree with a little bit if he has a broken tine, you have no idea what it was. But like if you have video of them,
that is art. That is not fixing. That is art.
Yeah. But I mean, if you have like video of them or trail camera pictures, or you've seen them on the hoof, like fine, whatever. But for whatever reason, I am very strict on myself as far as the way that deer is laying there. I'm not. That's how I kill it. When I kill it is how it is. And the only way I would probably change that is if you have some freak accident where like you're hunting a mountain goat and it freaking falls down the mountain and breaks his horn off or something. Then whatever. Yeah, I'll fix it.
Have you asked yourself why is that though to you? Like what?
I just told you why.
There's not really a reason though. You're saying
how I kill it is how I kill it. Like how I'm leaving it how he is. Like
I'm just asking though. You're not against somebody else fixing it.
No, because I don't mind if they want to do that. But for my own personal, like I'm telling you what it is. The way that animal is laying there, or it was walking right before I shot him.
Do you feel like that'd be adding something to him though, or
somewhat
altering him in some way to fix it?
Yeah, and I feel like it's unnatural. Like again, It's as simple as how I kill it is how I kill it. Like I just don't see any need to fix it. I don't care to fix it. I don't lose anything from fixing it. I don't gain anything from not fixing it. Like I just, the way that deer's laying there and the way whenever I killed it, if he had it the week before and the week after is when I kill him, well, that's how it is.
Not me. Straight up's getting a new
Because
brow tine.
the other thing too with it is that if you're scoring it, which I score pretty much all of them, or if there's any premise to scoring it, I'm not counting that. If I were to add that, no way. I don't care if there's a picture, there's a video. Unless you get that deer on the ground, I don't care how great of a person you are at scoring or judging deer, you, Dad, myself, anything. There's plenty of deer that you see a trail camera photo or you see them in person and you're like, oh, that's a 6-inch tine or that's a 7-inch tine and it's 10 or it's 4 or something. It's deceiving sometimes. So I'm not about to score a deer and then throw on the tine that I think is 6 inches and say, okay, he's 156 instead of 150 now.
Yeah, but I mean, I would disagree with that because I think you could take, like, straight up, for instance, you have enough pictures of the deer, you have enough information, you can use his other brow tine as a benchmark, and you could make it even just perfectly straight and take off a 1/2 of an inch, but the likelihood that you're within an inch or less on accuracy, I think, would be more than fair. Now, obviously, I understand you can't enter that in the book or anything, but I wouldn't have any problem if somebody told me, they killed a 180-inch deer and it had been fixed off of pictures and information. I wouldn't killed a 180-inch deer. I
wouldn't hold anything against them or anything like that.
I don't hold anything against them either. I just won't do it for myself.
All right, so that's another question we want to hear from you guys. You fixing or you not fixing? And then what score are we getting? Are we getting the fixed score or are we getting the before it's fixed score?
There is a few. There's one instance now I can think of that I would pass, and that's the one that you passed this year on, like, that drop tying deer.
Yeah.
Because
he broke everything.
Well, but his G2 that he broke too, that thing was wicked. Like, that was super cool, and I think that it'd be extremely hard to recreate that.
Right.
So that one I think it would take it away from it because you can't. It was like went down and then over and then back up, so it'd be super hard to create that accurately.
And I would agree with that. I mean, the 1 year when David Mitchell passed KB, I would have done the same. He had was broke off at the base. He had lost 7 tines. There was nothing there. And
that's the whole main beam, though.
That's what I mean. And he snapped off his main beam between his brow tine and his G2.
I'd rather him snap the whole beam than each of the individual tines.
Because then you can go find the antler.
Yeah, I feel like I've got a chance of finding that.
He was committed to going to find Elway's tine. And I'm telling you, that sucker was anywhere from like 4 to 6 or 7 inches. And
dude, you're
gonna go find.
I was gonna say, if you heard
the fight, I could
know, but
find that.
Go try to find a spike. How many spikes have you found?
I find them every year.
I do. I don't know why.
Maybe 1 or 2.
Can't find 180
I
inch
find them
yet,
every
but I'm
year
finding 8.
Just looking in general. If you can give me a
okay, well,
vicinity,
you know what? If the squirrels haven't eaten it, you're gonna have a chance to go find the sucker.
Yeah,
I'll put a
it now.
pin on where it's at.
Well, but in defense, or not even, I'm not defending you because you don't need defense. The bull that I killed in Wyoming that they were fighting, I never fixed that time. And he busted that. I watched him break it off. I saw it come off. And I went back and tried to find it after I shot him. And I never could find it. And I mean, I knew it was right there somewhere because I watched them when they're fighting. I saw it snap. And I'm like, we'll put that sucker back on, and I spent probably an hour and a half trying to find it, and I couldn't find it. So, oh, well.
Maybe he was laying on it.
No, he ran farther when I shot him.
This was the ones that was fighting?
Yeah.
I thought that was a Utah bull.
Or that's what I meant, Utah.
Which tine did he break?
That top one?
Oh, his little
snapped.
Fitz point on the right?
No, he's got like his G3 or 4, about
half
5 or 6 inches of it is snapped off. And I saw it break. I mean.
See, if I could find it, that would be a little, like, if I could find the actual tine and just screw that puppy back on, okay. I think I would be okay with that. I guess I haven't had that experience, but
all right. Well, like I said, I want to hear what other people would do because I think it's a legitimate conversation point that we have quite often with people on. Yeah, I won't shoot him. He's missing all his points, and I am of Warren's though. If he's 5 years old, if I've let him get to the age where I am hunting him, and he comes in and he just got something slightly wrong or whatever, he's still, he's still the same deer. I still outsmarted that deer. He's gotten within bow range. So
Getting the old 1-2 dirt
Yeah.
nap. Trademarked by Easton Holder.
So did we cover one of the other questions? Was
I'm gonna go buy that trademark just so you can't even say that.
what?
I'm gonna sue you for saying trademark.
That's my trademark.
That's brotherly love right there. I'm gonna sue. I'm gonna trademark a statement so you can't say it, and then I'm gonna sue your ass for saying it.
What the heck, man?
I call that good business.
Well, you can sue me. You ain't gonna get very much.
That is definitely Karen's kid. That's all I can tell you.
The only thing I have that's worth anything would be my dog, and you ain't getting him.
All right.
It's all right. The tracking jobs. Just give me my cut.
Oh my gosh.
So, and I think we touched on this, but I think there's probably a few more things to mention. Because I know when we did the scoring podcast, we talked about here that, new hunters and kids don't get a lot of grief, but the successful hunter does. Does he deserve that grief? I know we talked about him getting it and why they're getting it. Does he deserve because he's capable of killing a big deer every year? Is that something that, or is it just to me, it's just a part of what's going on in life nowadays, that as soon as you see something on social media, immediately you don't know whether it's real or not, because so many people put fake stuff on there. And I think that's more of what's contributing to the fact that people are questioning that other person that is not doing anything wrong. But I mean,
when it really comes down to it, no, I'm not speaking from experience, because I can't honestly say that I'm this way. But if whatever they post, no, they don't deserve it, because who gives a crap? Does it affect your life? No.
Right.
Well, most of the time, probably not. So whatever they're posting, whether it's real, fake, huge deer, whatever, if you don't agree with it, you don't agree with it. I mean, now there's lines to be drawn there as far as whether it's illegal, things like that. But like if they went and legally shot it, did it however they felt was right, I don't see. Keep your mouth shut, because why does it? Now, granted, that comes into play too with morals. Like if you have a strong opinion on what ethical would be, as far as like if they're shooting them in the head or something that you just royally disagree with, okay, maybe you feel it's your place to step in and say, hey, and stand up for what you believe in. I get that, but not.
But even then, I feel like that should be done as a direct message.
Yeah, I don't think it should be on a Facebook comment.
Because where you're going is a whole nother topic, and that is, what do you put on social media, or what do you do publicly? Are we hurting ourselves or not? And when you mentioned the head shooting, I'm not so much, if you can make the headshot and you want to do that, I guess that's fine. We don't do it because we hunt with bows most of the time. However, when you post a picture on social media of their eyeballs blown out, and they're gory and stuff like that.
I'm disagreeing with you right there, but we're not going to get into this.
That's a whole different.
My point was premising the fact of, if it doesn't affect you, it doesn't affect you. Keep scrolling, whatever, who cares? I was just stating that I am somebody who believes in standing up for what you believe in, so I can kind of get if they're doing something way wrong, that you feel like you should say something, but I really don't. I scroll past, it's on social media. Who cares? Go to the next thing.
One thing to add to that. This comes nowhere from the hunting world, but from politics. I personally believe that, sure, you can believe, feels though you need to state your position. But my question, I would love to see somebody do a survey on this. How many people have ever had their mind changed from a Facebook comment? Yeah. I bet it's like sub 1%. Even in a direct message, same thing. I think if you really actually want to try and influence somebody and have them even consider your thoughts, speaking to them is your only option. I mean, not your only option. Obviously, you can do whatever you want, but the only thing that might actually have an effect. But my question would be: is why do people think? One, is it the same people? If it's the same people that go and they dog on somebody for shooting a small deer, and then they go and they dog people for shooting big deer, okay, well, you're just a troll then. Now, what makes some people think that it's okay that they won't dog on someone for shooting a small deer, but it is okay to dog on someone that shoots a big deer.
Because jealousy.
But it seems to them like it's okay to do that. It's okay to do. It's not even just jealousy as much as just, well, they killed a big deer, so I'm allowed to crap on them.
I don't know why it's okay. Because it's not. It's not okay.
Yeah,
I don't know why they think it is.
Do you have a theory on that?
I don't. Because I go back to what Easton said. I wouldn't do it. I mean, I was just sitting here trying to think as we're talking about this, and I'm like, how often have I ever made a negative comment to anyone's deer? And it's never. You know, I mean, I don't care whether I'm looking at someone that, unless it was illegal or something, then you would see me I'm coming alive. You know, I mean, and if it's stated that they did this wrong, the one that comes to mind is the anti-hunters that posted the picture of the doe with a fawn laying next to it that had been hit by a car, tried to say hunter went out and shot this deer, and I corrected that. That post went viral. You know. But so my point is, I don't know why someone would do that. I don't know that.
If they're going to do it illegal, though, dog them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
I got no problem with that.
They're a thief. They're stealing from us.
Yeah.
You know. But I just don't know that. You know. And so I would say to the masses that we're talking to that are listening to this podcast, I bet you most of them that are associated with raised hunting are the ones complimenting the kid, complimenting the guy for killing the big buck. But
at least we'd like to think so.
Yeah, but if you're but if you're not, if you're someone that's ever posted a comment, maybe think twice about it. Why did you need to do that? Why what are you trying to accomplish that you're saying to that individual?
Yep.
Well, I think for the individual, honest to God, 90% of stuff is probably positive. 90% of comments on things are positive. The problem is that the 10% of the crappy ones is the one that people remember. So don't remember those ones. Forget about those and
brush
focus
them
on
off.
the rest of the
Who cares?
positive ones.
Well, but I would say that percentage changes the bigger the deer gets.
Yeah.
That when you get to that 200, 220, 230, those
insanely big deer.
Insanely big deer, it's a high fence. It's a high fence and it's fake, and but in people's defense, still, I don't see the need to say that. But my point is the reason is because someone else will post a picture of one that's from a high fence and say, "Look at the deer I killed," and leave it at that. Like, look at this could be the new state record in Tennessee or Arkansas or wherever, and it's not.
I would just change your perspective. If you're the person that killed a deer that's 220, 230, that everybody's saying that, then I'd be wiping my tears with a 230-inch rack. Because, I mean, plus, if people are telling you that you killed a deer in high fence, clearly you killed a giant deer, so they're complimenting you in a way. They just don't even realize it.
Well, one of the things, though, that we probably should add here, and because I learned this, we have a friend that killed a 250-inch deer.
258. If we're going to be all precise on numbers.
I thought it was 252.
Oh, well,
I thought it was 246, but
no, it's over 250.
I was talking about Jim.
Oh no, I was talking about
that one was
Nick.
258. Yeah, Nick's is 252.
252. So one of the things, though, that I learned from Nick, he was very, very smart about. If you are lucky enough to kill, and you can call that a trophy, you could call that the gold or the Purple Heart or whatever you want of awards. He contacted the game warden immediately and told him that what had happened. He had shot the deer, and then he immediately put that rack in a place where it couldn't be taken. I didn't have to worry about, and that kind of sucks.
And got a replica made.
Yeah, but I mean, he just was very cautious before people started attacking and everything like that. And it sucks that we're at that place in our community, but you now need to do that. You now need to put the DNR or Fish and Game or whoever it is on alert, because they're gonna come check when something like, especially a new world record or a state record or something like that. I mean, you're gonna have to have everything legit checked.
Which it's crazy to me that somebody would even steal a deer like that, because you still, how are you gonna sell that? I mean,
so unique.
Yeah. I don't know.
The black market's a scary place, man. You can do whatever you want on that puppy.
Well, I mean, the part about contacting the DNR right away, I was like, that was smart. I don't know that I would have thought about that. At this point now, I would.
Yeah.
And I've even known some people that have contacted the DNR to say, we have a deer that we think is really, really big, still while he was still on the hoof. And that's pretty trusting because a lot of DNR officers are hunters as well and stuff like that. I don't think that they can share that information, or at least they shouldn't. But, it's just in case this deer is killed, I wanted you to know. And because I know of a gentleman that did that as well.
Yep.
I hope I'm to that point one day.
Yeah, I'd like to see one like that. I felt like I needed to call someone.
I really don't think I ever will be, but hopefully.
Got a lot of hunting left.
So let's just say you had a 230. Let's just say that you got a 230. If he doesn't have double drops, and I'm not quite as concerned, but let's just say this is a 230-inch deer. How bad do you really want a deer that big? Because I think I have a different perspective on this than most people.
I mean,
it's not going to take away from anything else I shoot in the previous or the following years. I'm still going to shoot whatever I normally would.
No,
I'm shooting it, and I'm wanting to shoot it because that is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You ain't ever going to find that again.
I think that you would definitely have to chase that deer with everything you got because of the uniqueness. I'm looking at 40 years of not 40 years of bow hunting, but 40 years of big game hunting, and I've never seen one like that. So if I saw one, it would be, well, this is a rare opportunity. I better.
Why are you on the side that you wouldn't shoot it? Because I know you well enough, and I know you're going.
That has nothing to do with not shooting it. I said, how bad would you want one to hunt? That was the question. How bad would you want a deer of that caliber to hunt?
If it if it happened, like if it was there, heck yeah. But I'm not like, man, I really, really want to have a 230 one day. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not striving to really want it.
You guys say, and this is just from what I've heard from listening to these other guys that have had deer like this, is stress. Like I feel like when you get a deer of that caliber, from other guys that I've talked to that have had deer, like it changes everything. As soon as people see them, there's people everywhere driving around your stuff. You lose properties. People trying to lease it. People trying to buy the ground. And
I'm taking a tranquilizer gun, man.
I just
promise.
I think it would be really. I think it'd be really cool to have one of that size. But I think that it would. I think the amount of stress that might come with it, of how bad you'd want to try to kill that deer, could outweigh the benefit.
I'll take it. I'll take the stress. Take it for a whole year. I'm good. I don't care. I will go cry in my room out of stress every night, and then get up in the morning and still hunt him.
Well, but look at Nick's situation. He didn't kill him the first year, and he was over 200 the first year.
Yeah.
And then he makes it. I mean, if you want to talk about stress, imagine what he might have had to be going through every time.
That's partly what I'm going for. He said that if he hadn't killed that deer, he said he thought he would have literally thrown up, and then he probably wouldn't have been able to hunt for a year or two. And then he said his neighbor that was trying to kill him didn't hunt for like 3 years after that, which I'd have a hard time doing. But I mean, I think that a deer of that caliber can just invoke a lot of stress.
Yeah, but I would like to. I just know that when I see big deer, or big elk, or whatever it is, they're awesome, man.
They're super cool.
Each one is so unique and so cool.
Elk are different though, because when you see those giant bulls,
oh yeah, the
those
400 plus.
Yeah, the way they walk, everything about them is different. Where whitetails, it's similar, but you can see 210, 220-inch deer, even just these videos, because I've never seen one in the wild, and they don't. You could see 170-inch deer, and their bodies and everything, to me, don't necessarily look all that different. Where it seems like 400-type bulls, that is not the case. Like, they are a superstar in all arenas.
Yeah, well, I don't know. So, I mean, I think there's a whole lot of space from where I'm at. I've not even broke the 180 mark. So,
think about it now, I think we've seen bigger bulls than we have deer. Like, if you were to relate the two.
Well, I can only claim of two 400-inch bulls.
Yeah, but you've seen a bunch of 380, 390
type bulls. I saw a lot of those, but I had only 2 bulls that I can legitimately say that was a 400-inch bull. And I had 6 guys with me looking through spotting scope on one of them, and we all scored. We're throwing the numbers out. We wrote it all down. We ended up at 396 inches, and then he had a kicker that was probably 6 to 8 inches long. So we're like, okay, that's 402 to 404. And I would tell you that I'm always, especially when you're guiding other people, I throw numbers lower. Because the last thing you want is for someone, you tell someone it's a 150-inch deer and it's 149, they're upset. Now you tell them it's a 140-inch deer and it's 149, they're on cloud 9.
Mm-hmm.
So
All about perspective.
yeah. So anyhow, and then the other one I saw was on public land. And that one, to this day, I mean, I had a DNR officer out there told me that they estimated the bull at 410, 415.
But that was confirmed because they had sheds, right?
Yeah, they had the sheds from the year before. No one, as far as I know, ever killed that bull. Not that I know of.
And he was a straight 6
Straight
by 6.
seven. Straight seven. He was straight 7.
Good Lord.
Yeah, he was cool. Not a kicker anywhere. Nothing. Just clean. And everything was his fifths were the 7th point was a foot.
Ooh.
Now
that's what I like to call a whale tail.
Yeah, he was huge.
Mhm.
That's not the whale tail.
The last point?
No, he's talking about this.
The 7th point. Well, the 6th point, because the 7th point would be the whale tail.
He just said the last point.
But Warren,
he means the point on the top of the beam. That's what he means.
I don't
normally
care. It's a
their
whale
6th
tail.
point is the one after you got a royal, and that's number 4. Then there's one more behind that. That makes him a 6. Well, this one had 2 more behind it, and he was a stud. All right, did we cover everything that we wanted to cover here? I think that what I love is I think we've left this an open door for people to comment on it. Yeah, I want to hear what other people think about some of the, what is your definition of a trophy? What is, would you fix them or not fix them? And I think we've covered some pretty cool stuff. So anyhow, again, guys, we sure appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to the Raised Hunting podcast. And it's gotten to the point where we almost can't make them fast enough that people are commenting and saying, when's the next one coming? And so the other thing is, again, keep sending topics. Don't think that because we didn't cover your topic that we're not going to. We've made a list. We're trying to do things in a timely manner when things are going on and stuff like that. And then, as Warren has mentioned before, the reviews have been tremendous. So please keep doing that. We sure appreciate you guys. And with that, we are out, and we will see you next week probably.